Summer solstice is halfway here, and with that, I am halfway through this year. And that means it's time for the mid-year book freakout tag. Number 1. What's the best book you've read so far in 2023? Right now, my two favorite reads are a toss-up between Riot Baby by Toshi Ibuchi and The Psalm for the Wild Build by Becky Chambers. These two stories have very different vibes. Both of them are a dystopian science fiction story. One of them is going in the more traditional apocalypse, doom and gloom style, and the other one is sort of like a dystopia that's already happened and we're on the mend. It's really hard to choose between the two of these because one of them left me feeling like really great and the other one left me feeling like not so good. But even though you don't feel like great after reading Riot Baby, I do think the writing is excellent, the character work is wonderful, it's standing up and saying something that needs to be said. From my perspective, you need both books to sort of sit in this category because one of them is giving you like the serious, hard-hitting, thoughtful, real truth you need, and the other one is telling you like, hey, and if you listen and address these problems, then here's the kind of future, the kind of way that we could move things. Number 2, best sequel you've read in 2023. This is going to be Leigh Bardugo's Hellbent, which is a sequel to her first book, Ninth House. It's her first foray into new adult / college-aged fantasy and fiction, and because of that, it's a lot darker and grimmer than some of her other better-known works like Shadow and Bone. Because it does deal with a lot of dicey topics, and it doesn't always take them with the sort of weight and seriousness one would like, I think Ninth House ends up being like problematic and kind of like shoulder shrugs a lot of the problems that it's actually trying to address. Hellbent does better because it's significantly more focused. I go over both the things I love and the things I found a little bit difficult in it over here. Far and away, the biggest problem to me in Hellbent from a storytelling perspective is the best part about it is in the middle. I just stopped caring. I really like Alex as a character. She has this grim grit and determination, this like fierce single-mindedness that I really admire. And because the world in Hellbent is like so corrupt and messed up and it doesn't seem like there's any good guys or right sides in it, I never really feel bad when Alex is out there screwing people over. It's just her against a world of corruption and darkness. The simplicity in that and the ease of me being able to root for her to like the furthest extreme is kind of fun. Number 3, a new release you haven't read yet but you want to. And I don't really know. I don't keep very good track of new releases, so I'm sure there's quite a few. I just don't know of them. Number 4, most anticipated releases for the second half of 2023. I guess that's Gold by Raven Kennedy. I have some reservations because I didn't really care for the last book in this series, but it's been a year, it'll be probably a year and a half when that book releases, and that's long enough to sort of like cool my lukewarm feelings and make me think like,
I really do want to finish the series and just sort of like cap it off and come to a conclusion there.
I loved the first 3 books in that series so much. For all I know, Gold is going to be this beautiful conclusion. Number 5, the biggest disappointment so far. Probably Captured Fate by Eva Chase. This is book 3 in the Shadowblood series, and I just found this book super disappointing, really long, flat, rehashing the same things that I'd already experienced before. And it was too bad because so far I had loved the Shadowblood series. I devoured book 1 and 2 back to back. This female protagonist who is kicking butt, taking names, standing up for herself, holding her own in like a group of guys who seem to be equally powerful and strong as her, being part of like a team unit that can do a lot of amazing things. Super hyped for this book 3, and there's just nothing happening here. It's really put like a damper on my momentum in that series. Book 4 is already out, and I haven't picked it up to read it just because I'm like,
I don't know if I want to keep going in this series. If it's going to continue to be like this, maybe I just want to remember the good old days in book 1 and 2.
A close competitor for most disappointing thing is probably Brittany Chanel's series Elven Wings. I have been hyping up Brittany Chanel's other series, The Fae and the Fallen, for years, and I stand by that. That's an excellent series. You should definitely go read it. And I've been trying to find something else of hers to pick up and read because from that I got that she was like a great writer and she writes these really authentic characters characters that you really are rooting for and enjoying. She's got these beautiful epic battles. She usually does something fun, part whimsy, part innovation in the magic side that, kind of keeps you entertained and wanting to know more. And I finally found something this year that I wanted to pick up, which was her Elven Wings series. This one is about a Valkyrie that's lost her memory and she's getting back together with the gang, figuring out her place, and also trying to prevent the destruction of a world. So it felt like there were a lot of good stakes. There were going to be some of those solid character relationships and friendship beats. And then Valkyries, that gives a lot of opportunity for unique lore, powers, all that kind of stuff I thought would gel together, be right in her wheelhouse and be really fun. Then I read it and I didn't really like Elven Wings that much. Found a lot of aspects of it troubling, specifically if this series was targeted at young adults like her Fae and Fallen series was. I just think the Elven Wings series handles some pretty heavy topics and doesn't handle them carefully enough for a young adult audience. I can't talk about what they are without getting into spoilers because you begin to realize in, I think it's book 4 or 5, what those topics actually are and what's really going on. That was pretty disappointing to me because I had found Brittany Chanel an excellent young adult author. She really got her target audience. She was really writing books for that teen group instead of labeling something for young adults when really it's geared towards adult readers who read a lot of young adult for whatever reasons. Number 6 is going to be biggest surprise so far, and that's going to be the Black Stars collection, a Amazon Originals that features a bunch of Black authors writing Afrofuturism science fiction. I strongly suspected this was going to be good and it was going to be something that appeals to me and my reading taste, but I didn't realize how much I was going to like it or how many other stories I was going to be able to put on my TBR based off of this collection. And it was really cool because I've read a couple of these Amazon Original collections at this point in time, and how authors come into it varies a lot from collection to collection. There's quite a few of them where it feels like the authors are just kind of phoning it in or filling a quota of small press publicity things, and it really just feels like the authors were very strategic and thoughtful with the stories that they contributed to the collection. Number 7, newest favorite authors. I've got a couple. In science fiction, I'm keeping an eye on Victor LaVey. In horror, I have Ian Robb Wright and Jeff Strand. And in gothic romance, I'm really looking forward to more from Freakout Moon. Number 8, newest fictional crush. Mosscap from Song for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. Mosscap is my new favorite everything. I want merchandise, I want plushies, I want an AI modeled off of their speaking pattern and their curiosity and their overall animated being and upbeat nature. Number 9, newest favorite character. Again, Mosscap from Psalm for the Wild Built. See answer 8. Number 10. A Book That Made You Cry, Riot Baby by Toshi Ibuchi. I won't go too far into detail because I think a lot of it is spoilery, but if you want to hear more about my take on that, I do have an in-depth review of that here. Number 11, A Book That Made You Happy, Heart Haunt Havoc by Freakout Moon, and A Song for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. Heart Haunt Havoc made me happy just because it was so well done and it has a great ending, but it also has that spooky, gothic, creepy kind of element mixed into it, so it's got a lot of different emotions going on. And then Song for the Wild Built has a thoughtful element in it, but for me it was just mostly a joyous experience and just really happy and uplifting. Number 12, favorite movie adaptation you've seen this year. I haven't seen any movie adaptations this year. However, I am looking forward to Dune Part 2 that comes out this Christmas time. I'm also tentatively looking forward to the new Hunger Games release. I haven't read that 4th book, but I would like to go back to the Hunger Games world, and I guess I am sort of interested to know how President Snow became President Snow, even though I don't think that's the most interesting topic within the Hunger Games we could have prequeled on. And in video game to movie releases, I am also interested in Five Nights at Freddy's that's coming out this year too. Number 13. Favorite video you've made this year? I think my favorite this year is going to be my in-depth review of Riot Baby. I like it because I was able to find and incorporate a lot of B-roll to really visualize the story and the themes that I was discussing. I also like it because in the beginning I was able to give a spoiler-free review before diving into those in-depth elements. And I feel like I just had an opportunity to talk about everything that made that book great. And it also sort of like gave me a chance to spotlight something that I see got plenty of press when it came out, but I feel like hasn't had the lasting power that it should have, especially in like a book influencer sort of setting versus just like a general reader population. 14, most beautiful book cover you've bought this year. So I don't really buy books. I have like a book budget that is pretty much exclusively the price of the Kindle Unlimited subscription. And if you can't get it through the Kindle Unlimited, I usually am not picking it up. This year so far, I have bought 4 books, and in my opinion, all of the covers are pretty ugly. If you want to talk about pretty covers on books that I've read, I love all of the Black Stars covers. And I also think Bacchanalia by Veronica Henry has a pretty enticing cover. And then number 15, what books do you really need to read by the end of this year? I really need to finish reading Interview with a Vampire. It's one I started in January and I've been reading in pits and patches here and there. Last time I picked it up was March. I need to get back into it. I would like to reread Dune before Dune 2 comes out. I don't actually like the book, but I have been enjoying this movie's take on Dune. And in my opinion, even though visually everything is stunning, it's not really giving you the depth of information you need to go in and really get a good Dune experience. So I want to be like brushed back up on all of that. I bought Manhunt last year and I want to actually commit to reading it and completing it this year instead of just having it sit around. I've got Lore by Alexandria Bracken sitting on my Kindle Unlimited. I'd like to read that and get some kind of something up about it. I also went ahead and downloaded The One by John Mars. This is one I was interested in last year. It went off of Kindle Unlimited before I had a chance to scoop it up. I did pick it up when I saw it again this year, and I want to go ahead and roll that off. I have 2 different things by Octavia E. Butler on my Kindle Unlimited, and I'd like to read one of them before the end of the year so I can roll that off too. So that's where I am with my mid-year freakout. Where are you halfway through the year? Are you achieving your reading goals? Do you need to catch up? Do you have some that you've decided to push off the list? Tell me about it in those comments down below. And as always, keep reading. Bye!